begotten in my bonds. And now this is kind of similar to 1 Corinthians 4:15. It's the sense of, and these other two verses help us to understand it, Galatians 4, and also 2 Timothy 2:23, it's the one that leads to our causes. And again, in salvation, God is the one that does all the work. So God places the servant, the believer that brings the gospel and identifies him tightly with the job of getting the gospel out, even though God does all the saving. And God makes the unsaved person alive. God indwells him. But he uses that sense that I've begotten you through the gospel. I have caused or led you in the ways of the gospel. I have begotten you, or in the sense Philemon 1:10, I have begotten in my bonds. In other words, I brought the gospel to him, and God blessed that he became saved. I have begotten him in that sense. And I think that helps us to understand verses like John 3:3, you must be begotten from above. You must be led or caused from above. And this ties to the fact of salvation. God comes to indwell us. And we read in Philippians 2:12 and 13, it is God that worketh in you. He's leading. He's causing you to walk in his ways. And I think that's the way we can understand being born of God. And it doesn't have to mean that we got a different soul. We got a new soul in the sense that God has come to indwell our soul and all things are new. And he is now leading us and indwelling us and energizing us. It's not that it's a different soul. And so I think that's really what means being born of God is that he has come to indwell us, and now he is gendering us. He is leading us. He is directing us and causing us to walk in his way. And in that sense, I think we get help from Galatians 4 and 2 Timothy 2 to understand, or from 1 Corinthians 4:15 and Philemon 1:10 to understand this idea of being begotten of God, caused to lead by God, caused or led by God. And so the important thing, and I've mentioned this before, in recent years I've come to, I believe, a more correct understanding of salvation. The essence of salvation is man's relationship to God, is that he is made alive in the sense he receives God, whose life that indwells his spirit. His body is still dead, according to Romans 8:10, because the body is not indwelt by God yet. And so the important thing in salvation is that we have God, that man has been reunited with his God, and he's being led and directed by his God.